Okay, so we're at the stage where we can think about how to decorate in between the spaces, the negative space, and ignore all the positive space. Nothing to say that later that the positive space doesn't become one colour. We could make it black rather than making it white. It doesn't matter really. So there's lots of possibilities of what you could be doing, but it does depend on what you have in your cupboard. I mean, I've just been spending time looking for pencil crayons. I thought I had a load of them. I don't. So I've just scoured through my boxes to find out what there is. Got loads of acrylic paints. Not really what I want to be using at the moment, but you might want to, okay, if you have them. They can produce lovely, bright, bold effects in between the spaces. You can create stripes and all sorts with them. So you may have a cheap pack of watercolours. As you can see, these are old now. You might have drawing pens. They are quite useful. I have a few. I like drawing with them. They're waterproof. It's nice even if you don't have waterproof ones because you can actually bleed them with water and a paintbrush. I have a thing for coloured pens, coloured biros, and these Papermate ones that are ink joys are lovely. I really do like them. And I have some pencil crayons, and I have the good old faithful pencil. So choices, all depends on what you have. If you do have any water, well, if you have any water, of course you have water, everybody has water, but if you have any watercolours, okay, and a little paintbrush to go with it, you may choose to do yours all with paint on or in the gaps. So that is a possibility. So when you're painting, you know, you might go for, oh, let's go for really nice, strong, solid colour. Now, I said that I'd kept the shadows in. I have a little bit of shadow there. I'm going to actually do maybe a different colour beside it or do something darker to show it's a shadow. Now, remember, if you're using watercolours or even acrylic paints, if that's what you have, keep everything in a single direction. Now, these like red tinned or blue tinned watercolours are not like top quality. They are very basic. So you might, if you want really strong colour, you may take a few goes at it. You may want to do something different and put sort of water spots in them, and it might create a different effect for you. But you'd have to leave it alone, not that you can see it on there, for a little bit to dry before painting beside it. You can, I'm not sure it will work, you can add like dots of colour and do something a little bit different that way. Just make it a little bit more interesting. Looks like a strawberry. Okay, so that is a possibility of what you could do. You could always have stripes of colour inside. So you can have one colour and you can stripe it with another colour, your choice. Or whilst it's not working and going incredibly wrong, you could just fade it out. So it could be really dark towards one edge, like here. Might as well just use the mistake and fade it out into the other area. Oh, wibbles, wibbly woo. Okay, so you can actually take it around like that. Accidents happen, they can be nice too. Now, if you haven't got paint, but you've got a pencil, fine, okay. So what we could do, we could be looking at the space in between. I'm going to choose this space here. Now, I did have a bit of shadow in there, which might be quite nice. So I could, all the way around, be focusing about it being darker in the actual crevices or the corners, the edges towards the object. Reverse it. You could do any sort of technique here. I tend to like cross-hatching or diagonal. Cross-hatching makes you sort of build up the layers. So if you haven't really done much toning, which if you're year 7 you won't have, if you're year 10 you will have. And this project can be used for any years. It doesn't matter, it's still learning. So it don't matter whether you're 7, year 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, all valuable. Okay, so you can see it building up. I always do this with tone. I start lightly and then I add pressure and build it in. Now, when you're thinking about it, you don't actually have to just stick to cross-hatching. You can do like dotting and all sorts of things. I'm going to leave that there so you can just see where we've got to. See, we're 6 minutes already in, and you can see the effects coming about here. So imagine doing that all the way around in each one. That could be very, very interesting and give you a lovely effect. So you could do that. You could work with pencil crayons. You can alter the colours, it doesn't matter. So you might start off with your purple. You can just do the same effect. That paint's still wet. Damn. And I could just go out, fade it out. Trick with colouring in is remembering it's like toning. You just got, however, a slightly different lead. Well, it's not lead, it's a colour, it's a crayon, it's waxy. So it's actually quite hard to use. Now it's nice, I've got a bit of shadow around here. I'm going to do something different with it. But that purple could afford to go a bit darker or be a little bit different. So I'm going to see what happens when I put a blue on top. And I quite like that. And that's what I like about colouring crayons. You can actually sort of build up layers and layers of colour. And do it like this. So you can get nice effects. Yeah. Okay. So I know I could just take that and make it blue if I chose, so it creates this strange sort of step sort of effect. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, there's nothing to stop you making this what we call a mixed media piece. So you could have a mix of paint, you could have a mix of pencil crayon and maybe collage. I mean, if you've got any papers and glue, nothing to stop you from doing that. So you could have that. You could have the pens. As you could be working with space with pens, it's choosing your colours. Quite like pink, quite like the red, quite like the orange. I mean, there's all sorts of things you could have together. But I quite like these blues, and I might have that pink together. That's quite nice. I do like these. I always remember using these sort of colours when I was a teenager. And again, you sort of can be sort of building it in as a block or as a solid block if you wanted to. It might take you a bit of time. I do go back to cross hatching, I can't help it. So you could have a solid bit of colour. You could, like we've done over here, could build in pink. If they're brand new like these are, you may choose to actually run them on a piece of paper first before working directly on your piece of paper. Okay. These are quite cheapish at Tesco. Yeah, so you can get quite a nice effect there, and hopefully do something a little bit different around here, here with the shadow. So start thinking about using pattern. Not everything has to be toned in or flat. You could think about using patterns. You might go onto the internet. You can do this on your phone, or you could do it on your laptop, on your tablet, anything that you might have for access. And you could look up things called Zentangles. Zentangles are excellent, and you will see a whole range of different patterns that you could actually add and slide in here. Here I'm just going to sort of make it look like a track line. May do something to it later, I don't know. So that is a possibility. Whilst thinking about Zentangles, I could be getting my pens, 0.5, 0.2, all different thicknesses. 0.5 is a bit thicker. And I'm going to start thinking about maybe the space in here. And so I am going to outline. There's nothing to say that you couldn't outline everything from the very start if you've got a black pen, or you've got a gel pen. Gel pens can be good. All depends what you have. And I'm going to think about maybe adding different types of pattern in here, or just one type but different sizes. This is just what's coming to mind because I don't have a Zentangle sheet in front of me. Okay, so I could be thinking about things like that. Drawing little circles, you could have triangles. See what there is on the internet. There's loads. You might find things really, really interesting. And then once I have done that, then I would want to block it in around it. It takes time. You may want to use a different colour. Don't necessarily have to use the pen. It just can be quite nice. You might have a black crayon, it might work all right. It should work all right. So you could just do it like that. And you could then, as I said, you could get a different colour, and you could actually do spots like so. So there's lots of different things that you could potentially do with this. I would say it'd probably take you all in all about 50 minutes anyway to do the drawing if you're wanting to do it really well and not trace. And definitely this would take most likely a single to get part way through, or maybe a third way through your picture, depending on what you do with it. If you're doing something really plain and simple and block colour, then that's going to be quite super fast. If you're going to spend your time thinking about doing the dots and splods and Zentangles or the paint or acrylics, whatever you have to hand, then I think that would actually take you a nice double and a single lesson to do. It's not something that's going to be super fast because you want something to work with. That's lovely. You want a nice piece of work at the end of it, and I'm waffling now, so I need to stop waffling. So good luck with that. I hope that is clear enough for you. I know there are little snippets of videos in different stages, but that means you can stop and start them in the PowerPoint. I'm hopefully going to put this on YouTube as well. I'll have to see if I can make it one long running video, but you know, enjoy.